When it comes to creating in our art journal, I feel like we're really hard on ourselves about it. I mean, I know I am. And creating layers and adding texture and just drawing, doing all the things can be such a challenge. The key for this exercise is to just draw some faces, add some layers, and see what presents itself. And the more you draw and create, the more your own style will emerge. And that's my goal today, is just accepting mistakes as they happen and moving along to see what comes out. So we're not stopping when we make a mistake. And you will see that I will make mistakes. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep going and we're going to see what happens. And the end result, we're going to accept as it is, because that's life. We're going to accept what comes and see what comes out and discover our own intuitive art style. It's all about embracing mistakes as they arrive and just understanding that mistakes aren't really mistakes. They're self-judgment when it comes to creating art. If you are trying to be technically perfect in your drawings, perhaps then there could be mistakes. But when it comes to creating in your art journal, it's really more about self-discovery and discovering what you like and don't like when it comes to art. Mistakes that come up are usually because you are judging yourself, judging your talent, judging your ability to draw or paint or create. In today's goal, what we're going to learn or focus on is embracing those self-perceived, judgmental thoughts where we think we've made a mistake. We're going to keep going and continue on. I have a few different art supplies. I'm not committing to any of these, but I have my sketchbook and I know that I'm going to practice faces. Again, if you are new to my channel, I do have an ebook on how to draw faces. Let me find it. I have a few ebooks on how to draw faces. This one is hand drawn by me, and it's just got a lot of different activities in it to fill in faces, practice faces. I also have a how to draw whimsical faces. Both are very similar. They are workbooks and they show you step by step how to draw simple faces. So it's not realism. It's just something like this, whimsical faces. And that's what we're going to focus on today. If you're interested in the book, I will leave a link in the comment section. My goal in my art journal is just to let go and be free with my artwork. I also have some stamps that I might use. I'm really not sure how this is going to go, but just grab your art supplies, draw along with me, and it's all about practicing faces and creating an art journal page that's unique to you. So you don't need to do exactly what I'm doing. We're just drawing along. If you're new to drawing faces, I like to draw a circle and another circle and sort of just, it's like an oval. And so I think I might want to just draw a few of these little type faces and see what I can come up with at different angles. And I'm practicing being more free with my art and just letting it be what it's going to be without getting worked up about it. I also find if you draw fast, then you are committed to what you are drawing versus drawing slow and trying to be perfect. A pencil is a great place to start. I'm using a colored pencil simply because I can't erase it. I find if I erase my artwork or my drawing lines, that's when I get all sort of worked up and try to be perfect. And the goal is to let go of your perfection. There are no references. I am just going with the flow to see what I can create. The other thing too is I'm trying to get out of drawing the same all the time. So for this one, I'm going to try to draw eyes that are like ovals, because I normally draw eyes just with a line. So today, in some of them, I'm going to see what I can do if I try to draw the entire eye and how does that look. Also, the way I draw noses is sometimes like a little, I've gotten into just gestural. What happens if I draw a circle? Like I used to do it like this, and you'll find this in my How to Draw Faces book. And we'll see what happens with this, because I'm going to draw the eyelashes in after. And maybe this one will be looking like a 3/4 face. Sometimes when I'm drawing the 3/4 face, I try to draw the forehead and then like the indent. I know the eye is going to be here. Maybe I'll do it something like this. That's where the eye is going to be. And then the cheek comes out, and then the neck, or the chin and the neck. And then I'm going to draw her other eye. And again, I'm trying to break free from habit. So I know that my artwork is going to look weird or wonky, not perfect, 100% not perfect. But I have to be willing to accept that as I try to improve in my artwork, especially when I'm trying to draw faster and like loose and see what comes out. A lot of times people have like that little divot in their lips. And also I notice like I have her lip coming out here. So that chin's gonna come out a bit more. And we'll give her maybe some more bold eyebrows. So that's a start with 4 faces. I might bring this in a bit more. I'm also working on not overly editing my videos. It just takes so long to edit the videos. Now what I'm gonna do, I think, is make use of these stamps. Because this is an art journal page, I should be free, hold on. I should be free to do in my art journal page whatever pops in my head, because it is all about exploration. So I'm going to grab some inks that I have that are quite old actually, but I'm grabbing some different colors and I'm going to play with these inks in this art journal and these stamps. So I'm just going to shake it. This is Liquitex Golden Acrylics. A lot of times I'll get my inks on sale. I don't pay full price. I just see what's in the clearance section. So I'm just going to drop some ink here. Grab some more. Drop some ink. And hopefully, because I drew with a colored pencil, this ink is going to not cover my drawing fully. Let's see. Oh, I love this pink. This is such a great color. And then I'll get the stamps going. And I'm going to just grab whatever paintbrush I have. I like having old paintbrushes on hand. And so you could see the ink. My drawing still shows up underneath. And I have no expectation of how this is going to go or how this is going to turn out. But I do know if I want to get better in my art journal, I have to play with colors and textures. I really like the way the yellow and that pink mix together. Now, is this the proper paper? No, it's not. I probably should use watercolor paper with this, but that's okay. I don't feel like it. That's not what I chose. And now I think if you watch my previous video, I really like this stamp. So I'm going to get some, maybe, what did I use last time? I think I might have used some acrylic paint or something, or marker. I am really not sure what I did. But I'm going to grab some, I have this Liquitex, it's called acrylic gouache, and acrylic gouache is basically acrylic paint, but it's like a really thin, chalky, matte version. Gouache is usually reactivated with water, but this acrylic gouache is not reactivated with water. And I'm just going to put it on here on this stamp. I love this stamp. People ask me where I got my stamps, but I got this stamp probably 10, 15 years ago. So I really have no idea where you could get it. But I did get it at Michael's art store. They used to sell a lot of stamps. I find you can find a lot of stamps at the thrift store now. I think people were really into it back in the day, and then they sort of got out of it. So we'll see. Oops. There we go. It's just a fun way to add some texture to your artwork. I like that. I'm wondering if I should put another color. I wonder if I add some of this blue ink. So what I'm going to do is drop some of this blue ink, whoops, on here. Ooh, it's mixing with that red. We'll see what happens. I have no idea how this is going to work. Is it going to work? I don't know. Oh, it's probably looking muddy. I probably should have rinsed it off, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep going. When you see people's art journals, it's all about play, and that's what this is. So I'm gonna try one more. Oh, I hope you guys can move this down right here over this lady's face. Now, do I like that? Nope. But I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna wait for that to dry and play around. What I'm gonna do now is draw over this with a black Sharpie marker, because the black Sharpie marker will stay and I'll be able to see my faces better. And the next part is I have these Artex colored pencils in this neon pink. I really love this neon pink color. So I'm going to play around and just continue on with my mark making and scratchy marks without too much thought putting color down, because I can always go over it with a different color, a marker, whatever it is I want. I'm probably going to go over her face with something as well. But I want to get this pink in because I like the way it looks with the yellow. And I just really like the pink. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this face here. But I'm adding a little color and blocking some things in. Don't be afraid to pick colors that you like or that you feel like will add something to your artwork, especially if it's an art journal page. That's all I'm doing for each face, whatever I feel like. I've got these grayish and purplish colors out to create a little shadow on these faces and just sort of outline them a bit before I continue on. Because this is, even though it's an art journal page and I'm letting go, I do want to create faces that you can see. I do love that purple color and creating these kind of shadows. But I'm not restricting myself in the point of if I make a mistake, I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to keep going. And I really am liking how this face up here is turning out. So we are going to see what happens as we continue on. And that's what it's all about, playing in your art journal and seeing what you can do. One of my favorite art supplies that I got this year is this Liquitex gold marker. And these are a little more expensive than the markers that I usually use. It's called Iridescent Antique Gold. And I really love how this shows up. So I'm going to add this however I want on these ladies. And the great part about this acrylic paint is that it's permanent and it's nice and shiny. So I'm just going to add it in different places. You do have to pump these ones. These are like markers that you have to pump. And I don't mind. And it's going over the stamp quite well. I love the way this lady is looking. And I'm not sure. I like her flower there. I kind of want to use this stamp in a way, but I think I might just add some down here and up here and maybe give her some earrings. This is really about letting go and doing whatever you feel like on the page, however it turns out. So a little bit of gold, and then also I have a white marker as well, but it's not the same brand. This is an Artex white acrylic marker. I'm going to see if I could, these ones are a little bit different. I'm going to see if I could just put areas of highlight. Okay, for now, that's all I'm going to do there. The next thing I have is a molding paste, and this is golden molding paste. I've had this again also forever, and I don't know, I feel like blocking some things out and basically seeing how this mixes things together, but it adds a really interesting texture to your artwork, and that's what I'm going to do here. Play with your art supplies and see what happens. And a little gesso, which is a nice chalky texture as well. I'm mixing it all together. Maybe I'll pour some on here. Oh, I don't think I... I've added a lot of colors, a lot of these Caran crayons and just basic paint and crayons, and put it on top of everything. And now what I'm going to do is add a few more details. I love the way these crayons work. They go right on top of everything, like on top of everything. And it looks really good. What I'm going to do now is add some white highlights and maybe block off some areas with some white. So I'm just going to use some thick acrylic paint to do that. And I might go back over it again with some marker or something, but just a few highlights to make their eyes and maybe some features pop. It's really just about fine tuning it at this point, playing around. And so highlights are usually the tip of the nose, the chin, the whites of the eye, maybe some parts of the cheek. Sometimes the forehead, there's some white. And if you're playing around, you're just going to play around and embrace any mistakes that pop up. This lady, her eyes are way too big, but I actually kind of like her, even though I know that she's sort of, her features are not quite right. But sometimes that's just makes your art stand out a bit more. There's something about all these faces when you put them all together. I don't know. I feel like there could be some birds in there as well. But I don't want to go overboard, even though obviously I've already gone overboard, but I'm just going to add some white highlights and then call it a day, because I just think I want to leave this as is. This lady's supposed to have a crown on, and maybe I'll play with it a bit tomorrow, but she's supposed to have a crown on. And it's really a challenge when you're recording to sort of get things the way you want it to be. But I really love all these sort of art supplies. And then I like it when I add a little bit of add a little bit of white, and then some of this stuff will blend and create a nice sort of blended look. I don't want to do too much to this lady. And I actually will probably go over her eyes again later. I feel like I don't have enough for her eyeballs, need to be better. I added some sparkle to these and glitter. And I really like how this turned out. I'm definitely going to be going over these again. Maybe adding a little bit more shadow and highlights to make these faces pop. But I need to let it dry before I do that. I want to thank you so much for joining me in this art session. So does Kitty. She stole my chair. But thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day and happy creating.